All right, let's jump into things. Here we go, third time's the charm. Got to actually get that mic on. Look, I'll start off with DXY. Where are we at? It's 18 past 11. We're on the 23rd of January, coming into the last kind of week for the month. Well, 7 days of the 7 days of the month left here. So a couple of trading days still to go with it all. Um, Actually, seven as well. Well, seven, I suppose, this week and that next. Anyway, whatever, I'm garbaging on. Let's start off with DXY. We've got the channel break, we've got the wedge break, we've got the negative divergence. That's fine. That initial move and everything through there has played out. We've had the first retest of the underside, but what I can sort of see with these, and DXY particularly is very sort of vulnerable to these sort of things, when it's coming down with these little sort of wicks like this, if you look at this on put it upside down, it's like a little hanging man. And hanging man obviously sort of is a sort of bit of a reversal. The fact that it actually closed bullish as well is generally a lead indicator that you're going to see this sort of move back up. That's one sort of view of it here. I think we may have had something previously. Maybe a little bit of this one here, but anyway. Point is, came in right on cue. This is what the plan was. Obviously, we sell off from the highs up here, back into this zone. So it's no sort of surprise. It's not like, oh, okay, wow, actually, hold on, wait, maybe everything's flipping around and we're going to see it all sort of go right back up to new highs. Look, I mean, anything's possible. But I feel with my sort of outlook on these sort of things at the moment is that, so just bear with me one sec. Just saying, Aussie's just picking up a little bit here. Just got to see if there's any. All right, no, so yeah, just a little bit of a spike in Aussie there. Anyway, look, regardless, I think the fact that you've broken structure, you've broken the channel, you've broken the wedge, you had the negative divergence, it has come back to a point of oversold. This is on the daily. So it's oversold, it's looking like it wants to turn up. That's fine. You can sort of go with that. You can run with that a little bit. Um, Buyers sort of coming in at this zone. This is why we marked out the zone because we thought, look, if you're buying here, you're holding, buying here, you're holding, boom, and it goes up and it comes back down to here. Maybe you took some profit up around here as things are starting to change, and we saw these sharp sell-offs and that. People down here are thinking, that's great. Look, I bought it here last time. I sold it up here, or I bought it here. I sold it up here, bought it here, sold it up here. Whatever the case may be. Now I've got another chance to buy it through here as well. Like the channel is obviously what a lot of people are sort of watching on. I'm obviously sort of tracking that as well, but it's not the only way that people are sort of valuing these things. This is just a way to sort of digest and sort of dissect sort of what the actual price action is. So look, I think it's all running to plan at the moment. The fact that it came back up and sort of tipped into this little buyer zone, it's all to plan. This is what we've sort of said with it all. If we get down onto a sort of slightly lower time frame, actually we'll put it onto the 1 hour so we can see it a bit more. You can see that sort of we had a couple of little zones that we sort of picked up through here. It's funny actually, sort of like we're coming down into here, and I was sort of talking to a mate, and I'm like, oh yeah, look, this is where I took my profit for Aussie. As it was coming down into this zone, even if we get onto a lower, you can see the little higher low through here that I sort of picked out on, and I was just like, look, Aussie's coming into its own little resistance area, which I'll get to in a moment. This was coming down into a support area. For me, that was fine. Bang, wipe the hands, take the profits, sit back. I put some orders in lower. They've been filled, and now we can sort of see what's going to happen with this next move. Going through here. Like, as I said, I don't think we're going to see mass recoveries and all new highs on US dollar unless we see some extreme sort of, fundamental backing for these kind of things. I would be sort of like, high tariffs and, you know, at this stage, that's about all I can sort of really see because it's really light on news as well. So there's no catalysts to really give everybody to go, hold on, wait, bang, all their economic data is through the roof. They're having a mixed bag. Remember last week they had those, it was a Michigan report, or was it? It was one of these ones. It was like from -5, to 44 or plus 44. And it was just like, so they're getting a big mixed bag of sort of data in that at the moment. But there's lack of news coming out this week, or data anyway. Tariffs are sort of people are holding on. I did see some sort of headlines in regards to 10% against China. But again, 60% was in theory, what people were pricing for, even if they thought that was a little bit ludicrous, which I think a lot of people did. Um, it's as I've said a number of times as well. I should add on that. I think that sort of the idea that he'd have all these good talks with Xi and then blow them up 2 days later seemed a little bit okay. You wait till you got something that you want. So yeah, look, I think 10% is probably a sort of a dial back from what people could have even been expecting. 60% was probably a bit, as I said, ludicrous, but market was pricing for higher. So I mean, even 25% against proposed 25% in a week's time or 8 days time now against Canada and Mexico. That's harder than what's been proposed against China. So, what I mean, I just don't see at the moment the catalyst for it to go back to new highs. Doesn't mean we can't see a grind going up a little bit higher though. Come back and retest this zone here, which is where we kind of sort of thought, structurally you might get it. This first bounce really came up very quickly. As you can see, sort of, if we go back onto this other time frame, it held beautifully. These retests through here and smack down, but eventually got into the buy zone where we thought the buyers were going to be sitting. Lo and behold, they were. RSI is tipped there, ready to sort of try and sort of push this back up a little bit more. So, if we do see a little bit of a correction through here, I see it nothing more than probably a little bit of a technical correction. People sort of, trying to sort of hold these areas. I think, whoops, these sellers are going to be sitting here again. So again, look, if you're sort of long dollars and you see this big drop down like this and it comes back up like this, you know, you're gonna try and get out for even or for as small minimal damage as possible. Pushes back down, try and push it back up, artificially push it back up. Give it another sort of drive up here, suck in some more longs. You can sell to them, clear your positions, and take minimal damage before we eventually commit to this downside. But again, this is where the alert's set, and it's set there for a reason because that's taking out all the lows through this zone through here. And this is what I was saying the other day with the video. We had a little bit of a bounce through this area, and initially I was like, okay, well, it seems like buyers may have sort of moved up a little bit like this, similar to here to here. But, that was just, a little bit of a quick bounce, boom, boom, and back and forth. So, yeah, look, it's to me nothing more than a little bit of a sort of technical correction at this stage. If we get back above these highs, I mean, look, real top side would be, 109.40 here just to close that gap because, as I said, markets don't like the gaps. So, yeah, whether we sort of close it now or close it in 6 months' time remains to be seen. But as I said, market does not like gaps. It left a big one at the start of last year, and it looked like it was a full runaway gap, and for multiple months it was, of course, well, till it wasn't, and this came up and ripped it up through here. So that's just a bit more of the broader sort of look at it all. However, look, I do think we are going to get a little bit of a push up and then sort of a rollover here. I don't think we're going to see mass recoveries at this stage. Could be wrong, but of course, this is the area top side that I'm interested in. 108.57. If we do get to there, like a finish on a little bit of a positive note, pushing up through there. Gold, of course, sort of had a bit of a rip up last night, unable to get major breakout. Silver didn't get its sort of medium-term breakout. Aussie into its resistance areas. So again, maybe like some confirmation. I'll have to look a little bit closer at the news, but maybe a little bit close, a bit more sort of actual concrete confirmation against what's going to happen with China, and also now, I guess, you may as well just chuck it on the in the diary and that for 1st of Feb as well to sort of see what happens with Mexico and Canada. They talk, I don't know, call it tough, but they talk tough and they're like, oh, we're going to send tariffs back at you. I don't think they care. That's fine, sort of send tariffs back at them, and that's like, it's not the point. Anyway, we'll see what happens in that. But for the time being, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a continued grind up through here, and then sort of potentially push back down. But the main level, or main levels, I should say, 107.57 for underside, and rejection from 108.55 if we do get up to this zone over here. I want to see these sellers push back in, and then really sort of try and drive that back down here as well. All right, moving along, we have gold. As we can see, gold got that nice little breakout through yesterday. Really odd, well, yeah, odd price action. I don't know, just a frustrating, I suppose, price action. As you can see, dictated through here, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Slow drift here at the moment. You can see almost like the sellers pushing this little area down through here. Look, it's right up into this higher time frame resistance area. I think sort of like, obviously the new high above sort of 63. You're looking at, let's get on to something a little bit bigger so we can actually put it against these. Look, you're getting up into a very, let's move this over here. Actually, let's get rid of it, whatever, doesn't matter. Um, we are seeing, okay, just these wicks over here. So again, move this out of the way. So we can sort of say, look, where are we at? Oops. Yeah, there we go. So it's the wick highs over there. Little areas of interest would be probably this zone here, and then obviously all-time highs. So it gives us a couple of little levels that we could sort of work off should we sort of see a big drive up to the top side here. Certainly very, very bullish in that still, isn't it? Sort of like from really from sort of, all year. I mean, that's December 30, so here's the start of the year around this point. A little bit of a bump down, and then just it's been ripping, ripping, ripping. Really, the telltale was this break of the triangle, obviously. So if we have a little bit of a wider view at this, we got that sort of like, break, tried to sort of put it back in, double bottom, break through here. I know I do this every day, but yeah, it's good to sort of recap these things. This last leg through here, 50% retracement, and then bang, push back up through here. So if we sort of were to sort of say, look, I'm not comfortable, but I'm not sort of really interested in putting the fib over this at this stage, just because we don't know that this is the top here. So technically, sort of like you could say, okay, look, it had a nice break and a retest of this area. Generally, you'll get a quicker retest, and then you might get a daily or the next time frame up or two time frames up retest. So look, if it does start to break down, you can't sort of do it in the little fingers in the air, but look, if it does start to reject from this area, 721, yeah, 2721 is where you'd sort of want to be looking for it to possibly sort of retest these areas over here and then get a bit of a springboard to move up through that. It's always hard, sort of like when you see things just like going up, 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 to sort of think, oh, is it going to turn over and roll over? But of course, that's what we were thinking through these areas as well. I don't think we're going to be getting these kind of sell downs. I think you need to honor the fact that it's broken this triangle. I think minimum you're probably looking for as you can see, the sort of depth of this triangle takes us up to 29. I do think we have sort of breakouts coming. And as I said, I think this is going to be the catalyst when DXY breaks that level that I mentioned before, where we just sort of bounced from overnight. The tariff news and this kind of stuff is going to be the things that sort of give it a fundamental backing. And as it is at the moment, we're seeing sort of technical sort of reasons for these things to sort of break higher as well. Look, it rejected from a known point, 63, pretty much right on the money. So you know what I mean. Again, people take profit there. This is important as to how far this comes back here. So what I would, rather than put this big sort of fib over the whole thing, I'd be looking more at, say, just this zone through here and say, okay, here's the big push. We got the breakout, yada, yada. After this pullback here, reloaded, bang, push through. This is the one that we want to sort of see. Is this going to keep moving? So it gives a pretty clear cut line at 46 down here. A little bit of a sort of grind through this area. It was the breakout zone. Obviously, that's why we had that little triangle through there. 46. You go underneath 46, you look back to 21. In my opinion, this is what I'll be looking for. However, at this stage, even though it's tried to sell down, tried to sell down, tried to sell down, it is holding up around that top area. And if we get onto a smaller time frame, you can see it's very much, it's just dribbling down, dribbling down. There's no sort of big sort of sell-offs. There's no sort of like, okay, let's get right back. I mean, we had a little bit of a shakeout yesterday, come back to retest that breakout point, but again, put in a new high afterwards. It only sold back because it clip that technical area through there. So should this sort of start to move up here, I'll be looking for 77 and then probably a little reaction from 77 as well. So I think, yeah, 77's on your top side, 55. Now, that's a 22 buck move if we can get onto this move. If we can sort of push through this little, falling resistance here and close an hourly above 60. Seems 60 was a nice number that they were like happy to go, no, okay, look, you can stick your nose up there, but should you get under 60, should you close above 60, I think that'll be your confirmation and you move up towards, and as I said, we'll be moving towards 77, in my opinion, for the next sort of move forward. All right, so yeah, close above 60, that's what I'm looking for. Underneath 46, start to think about maybe sort of what's going to happen down at 32 and 21. So they're your sort of two lines, in my opinion. All right, silver, as I said, got into the breakout zone, but didn't quite get there. Kissed it. Very much, look at this, to the point. Very much to the cent. Love it when the charts work out like this. Unable to do the breakout. However, remember, this is very similar to what we saw with gold. Let's put them side by side. Make this one gold with this breakout here. So as it is with these two here, we've got a breakout of structure, push back down, found support on a marked out area, push back up, kissed it again, pushed up, kissed it again, sold down again, retest to the outside of that sort of structure, retest to the outside of the structure. If this pushes up through here now and takes this out, this is what we're looking for. Whether it's a small little boom, 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 they're looking up at 32. But you can see the similarities between this area, this area, this one, kissed it, retest, kissed it, retest. So, as I said, silver's been massively underperforming gold of late, but we are seeing a very, very identical sort of structure coming through here at the moment. So all it needs is whatever the catalyst may be for it to get it to push up and break through those highs. And we can look at what's happened previously, in respect to sort of like gold. You know what I mean? And it's a pretty clear-cut move down here as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we could get a little bit more of a sort of a push through the top side here, that we see a nice move up towards 32. And that's another buck move as I marked out here. It's another 3% should this sort of start to play out. Just bear with me 2 secs. A little screenshot of this one. You can almost sort of see with this as well. Break, retest here. Up to the next zone, come down and retest that lot. There your breakouts, move up here, back down here. So expect a bit of a sell back down there. All right, so let's get back onto one chart here. So look, again, that's what I'm looking for silver, just basically to follow the price action that we've seen previously that's been mapped out through through gold previously. So this would be the little area, should we see a little bit of a back test here, possibly in line with where we've seen selling here before. So the fact that, so where the way that these ones can sort of work, if you put this through the middle zone here, so you can see that I've obviously, it did, most recently, it just chopped through this. It didn't, it's like straight up, straight back down. But previously, it does have some history. And we're not talking going back 6 months, but even if as we zoom out now, you can see that the market has, for some point, valued it at these levels as well. It was a support, more or less resistance, and obviously resistance sort of through here. So should it get a break up here and we get the little faster, the sort of the more short-term back test, This would be an area 3183, and change. That would be probably your little breakout move. Then you look for the retest. Then you look for this leg to move through here along these lines here. That's where I'd be sort of looking for the move to happen to. All right, move along. We got Aussie. Aussie's really sort of pushing at this. It's fighting very hard to get this breakout. Again, look, this is what I was saying yesterday. These zones over here. You need to keep in mind. We did tap into this one, sold down quite aggressively as well. That was the also at the same time that we had that perfectly timed bit of news coming out. The data from no, it wasn't data. Sorry, I think it was a headline regards the tariffs. And obviously, boom, market said, okay, fine, whatever, and they overcame that and pushed back up. Now we're tapping into this one. This one here is our swing high of this channel. So we've got the break, we've got the back test, we've technically put in a higher high, touching into the same area as the sellers on the horizontal here. And this is a very significant area because remember, going back here, this is an area we've marked out for a long time, going back over a year. So, it's going to hold some sort of significance for sellers trying to sort of keep it down underneath here. Again, if we see a big sort of rocket candle moving up through here, I think that's going to pave the way. People are going to start to go, look, you need to respect the fact that the structure's broken. And we're going to be looking up towards this measured move, up towards, 64, 64.15, 64.16, these kind of areas over here. You are going to sort of see, obviously, there's a little bit of a level sort of through the middle here as well. There's going to be areas that we can sort of mark out. Let's just put it down here anyway. It's going to be areas like this that are going to hold a little bit of a knockback as well. 20, sort of 75, these kind of areas. Won't be a sort of straight shot. Won't be like one of these candles, excuse me, that goes bang. But it just sort of means once you've sort of confirmed the move, you got to validate the fact the structure's broken. This is where a price target is, and it means we just keep sort of buying dips basically till we get up to that price target. Well, I buy dips until we go. You can do whatever you want, but that's what I'm looking for. But again, we've seen the sellers really try and hold this thing down underneath this zone. I think, I said yesterday up into the 90s, 92. As I said, I got out a little bit early. I got out about 87, 88, 89. These kind of areas are sort of scaled out the last of my positions through here. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously it's coming back into the zone, trying to hold it, a couple little wicks underneath. We'll sort of see how things open up, and obviously DXY is going to be the dictator for this sort of thing at the moment. So top side definitely above 63, I think. Well, 63.2 here, but above 63, I think that's going to open the door up. We'll probably see a quick move up to 24, 24 back tests, and then 24 back test, and then potentially get along on its way. Like this is what I'll probably be looking for. Okay, copper. Holding at the highs. This is what we were saying yesterday. We wanted to see came back up. I mean, what was this? This was 2 o'clock on Wednesday. So that was about yesterday. We were saying that. So anyway, point with this is we're holding the 38%. We've got 3 touches on this now. The more you hit into something, the weaker it becomes, like anything kind of in life and that. But what we've sort of seen here is obviously we got the breakout up over here into the zone, exactly where we thought, pull back. Came a bit deeper than I sort of thought. I thought, may have seen this top area because it was such a resistance here, and obviously going back, it was a strong support. I thought this would have done a little bit better to hold as a support, but obviously broke through, and now it's validating itself as a resistance. So that's fine. Level still remains the same. Once you break back through it, you look for another move back up to the highs over there. That's a pretty clean trade, I would say. Once you get back up here, probably confirmation above 439 to sort of move back up to 447, retest for those sort of highs. But for now, we can see that obviously it's a bit of a tussle back and forth through here. And obviously you need to see that the market is not trying to sell it from this zone again. They took some pressure off and allowed it to run through here. But obviously the fact that you got back underneath, the sellers are going, oh, that's great. I've got another chance to sell it here. Whack it down. You danger now, as I said, 1, 2, 3, and you're dribbling towards the bottom there, is that if DXY runs up a little bit more, we see this level break, If this level breaks, then we're looking back down. I'll probably be looking around the 61% there. There was a bit of a congestion around this zone on the way up. So I wouldn't be surprised if this would be your downside move. I wouldn't be looking necessarily to short it because I do believe that we are still relatively bullish with it all. It is a little bit of a ugly head and shoulders through here, a technical move of a head and shoulders. I don't think this will come, but this would be more or less back down to the 76%. And this is what I was saying. If we zoom right out with this and we go, okay, here's our little breakout. Two things of this. One, I'm noticing exactly the same as how gold and silver did. They did their breakout. First little test of fresh air. They get smacked on the nose. That's fine. Second thing is, if we look back, as I said, I've covered this a couple of times underneath here, when it broke out, it didn't like break out and fly. Yes, it stayed on the outside. That's probably a big positive for that there. But it obviously came back below its breakout points. And even if we have a little look at, this be the move, depending where you want to go, if you want to do that last move up there, that was 50%. If you do the last move, then it's back at 61%. I would say probably more this last leg opposed to the full move through there, but I guess it depends how you like to cut these things up, what your time frame you're trading is, and what you're trying to achieve with it all. All right, 11:45. So we got a little bit of DXY on board. Just having a quick look. I got on another chart. Um, where are we at? Nothing much. 24, 27, 3 point gap down. Nothing significant there. All right, so as I said, levels I'm looking for with copper is to stay above 428. I think underneath 428, I'd be looking, down to these sort of levels at the bottom over here. I don't think that is really, to me, that's not a nice sort of head and shoulders. I would have liked the shoulders, if I was trading this and calling it head and shoulders, I would have liked the shoulders to be a little bit higher in respect to the height of the neck, but we'll see. I'm still in the camp of sort of it's probably going to move back up over here, with US dollar potentially selling down in the near term. All right, and finally finish off with China. China sort of found its range. We know where the sellers are. We know where the buyers are. It was the level that we sort of dragged across here. We're still looking at our first price target, which is one more leg down. Potentially, if this does turn out to be a bit of a bear flag, that takes us well past that level. I don't think it'll play this out in one go. If it does, even if it does break down, I think you're going to need something pretty drastic to get through this, because this is obviously quite a strong support area, quite a strong ledge here for this to get through. And I think it's quite significant for price to move through this. And because it's quite significant for price to move through it, it means it's not going to go through it easy. And it's not going to sort of do it in one go. So, potentially you see a bit up, down, up, down, up, down. But at the moment, look, you are seeing a little bit of, look, the buyers are trying to dribble it back up here. We know where the sellers are. Look, I think if a break and a close above 729, you come up and test 731. Similar to probably what we saw with DXY, potentially sort of moving up to do that retest of that other level. But again, even if it does move up to here, I imagine people are going to take the advantage to sort of sell that back down. So I'm still looking and maintaining price target at 722 for now. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Really low again on the news. Nothing coming out through Asia. Trade balance, I mean negative, but negative 0.03, negative 0.03. So moving in the direction trillion, as well, I suppose trillion yen, obviously. Um, but it's moving in the right direction, but still nothing significant. Short of that, we've got retail sales from Canada tonight, kind of boring. Unemployment claims looking to tick up a little bit. If these are going in that direction of moving up, it is a tick in the weaker US dollar camp. Obviously, more people unemployed, not great for the economy. They're not producing as much. and also putting a bit more of a strain on things. Only small numbers in terms of ticking up, but still something to keep in mind. And then sort of, so Trump speaks 3 a.m. This will be interesting, sort of see what he's got to sort of say with stuff. He's really been going hard since everything sort of started, which is yeah, it's great to see. He's enacting everything. Well, most things that he sort of said he would be doing. Tomorrow we got sort of PMI day, PMI Friday here. PMI sort of coming out all through the day. Aussie, a bit of a mixed bag. Manufacturing services always seems to be above across the board actually. Services seem to be up, but that goes into your little tinfoil hat area of you're not making anything, but we're all serving the rich. That kind of sort of idea of it all. But yeah, anyway, that aside. Yeah, not looking anything too flash hot there. It's just standardish. The big one that everyone's looking for is the BOJ. If the BOJ come in tomorrow, you're going to see yen strengthen up. That yen strengthening up is going to push DXY down. Could be something that sort of sees. Obviously, the flows will be going into the yen, but you may see some of them spill out of US dollar and then possibly into the metals there as well. So something to keep in mind. All right, that's it from me.